Yes. Okay. There we go. I think everything is finally on. Of course, this is not actually live, I don't think. Hold on. Let me check it on my laptop. Sorry, guys. I will get started in a second. My signal seems to be not wanting to work with me. And we'll jump into this. I know I'm running behind. Well, actually, I'm not. We were supposed to start at 30. So let's see if we are actually streaming through. Okay, we are live. So this is working. Of course, my actual encoder is completely frozen, so that'll be interesting. Because it looks like okay. Well, it's online. That's what we know. It's online. TikTok, you guys are easy. Everybody else is a pain in my rear, but we made it on to Facebook. So I'm going to assume that LinkedIn and YouTube are working as well. We've tested this 1,000 times, and I've only produced, I can't tell you how many live streams in my lifetime, both small and large for companies. And yet, here we are. Oh gosh, that is not what I wanted this title. Okay. Let us. Okay, well. Nothing I can do. I'll update the title afterwards. And we'll jump in. So if you have seen my postings or you've seen my lives in the last couple of days, you know that we are starting a 15-day challenge to a new product or service for business owners. So we're talking everything from how to conceptualize a new product, how to get yourself up and running, make sure your audience actually wants said product or service. Am I on? All those different factors. I know this says it's working. Okay, whatever. I'm going to assume that it is working. So a little bit of ground rules for this time, these next 15 days. So what are we going to be going through? We're going to look at pretty much the entire process of conceptualizing a product, making it real, and then how do I get it sold? So because you can come up with products all day long. And in fact, I've seen so many social media posts, live events, all these things about creating products and services. But one of the things is if you can't sell it and you don't let people know it's available, then you're kind of up a creek without a paddle. So each day we're going to come back and look through that process and say, okay, here are the things we need to consider to make this happen. So we're looking at everything from pricing strategies, product positioning, validating your idea, actually making sure that this is something that people want, creating an actual marketing plan. So we're going to look at this both from a short-term and a long-term aspect. When we originally came up with this 15-day challenge, we did it last year on Instagram, not here on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We did it specifically only on Instagram. And when we came up with this last year, it was 15 days before Black Friday. And I was being asked by a lot of people, how do we do some sort of product or offer for Black Friday? They'd never done it before. There were new businesses that I was working with that didn't really have a product or offer, but wanted to participate in Black Friday. So we designed this around the idea of Black Friday and the holiday season. We're still going to look at this from that short-term aspect, but we're also going to look at it from a long-term aspect. But here's the big thing. We can't cover everything in the long-term aspect. When you're looking at marketing, you look at a year-long plan, a 90-day plan, a 6-month plan, a 90-day plan, and an immediate plan, right? You're looking at different levels of planning, different levels of goal setting, all different kinds of things when you look at marketing and sales. So one thing we want to make very, very clear, we're going to briefly touch the edge of what is year-long planning, but if you really want the information about year-long planning, make sure you're following our platforms and channels. Make sure you hit that follow, make sure you hit that bell, because information will be released in the next coming weeks as to what year-long planning. We are going to hold a specific year-long planning training in December, actually the first week of December, that is going to look at year-long marketing. So setting yourself up for success for 2025. And what does your marketing plan need to look like? We're going to talk about the latest and greatest in the platforms, all the things you need to know, also different softwares and ideas. So let's talk about softwares and ideas. This is something we've been talking about a lot because a lot of people have been asking about AI. Are we going to address AI in this 15 days? Yes, absolutely. I'm a big proponent of using AI to build business, to build products, to build services. Is it the end all be all? Are we just going to put a prompt into AI and hope it works? No, absolutely not. There's a process with AI, but we are going to give you the ideas and the ways we build a product or service utilizing AI. You'll get to go through, you'll get all of our exact prompts. And with that, it'll appear here on screen when we have more exact prompt language, but also in a document that you can download by going to livefearlessmedia.com. That document will be updated daily with information, a wide variety of information, really. You will have replay links to these live trainings. So if you miss a training or you want more information from a training, or you just believe in the idea of repetition makes mastery, then you can go to those links and rewatch this live training. Also, on top of that, in those documents will be any and all reference material that we utilize during these trainings. So I do not profess to be the only expert in my field. In fact, I will probably profess more often than not to not be an expert in my field. I know this sounds ironic, but this is the reality. I often turn to people who are my inspirations to learn from, to be educated by, and I will share that information that has made me successful with you all. And I'm not going to reframe it as my idea. I will introduce that information as their ideas, as their research, as their knowledge, because I like to give credit where credit is due. And so in that reference worksheet that you can download at livefearlessmedia.com will be all of those references. So if you wanted further information or wanted to do further research beyond what we share during these 15 days, all of that information will be available in that document. Lastly, in that document will be some of the day-to-day action points. So the things you can be taking into consideration or doing to get yourself prepared for the next day. So we're going to be coming here every day for 15 days straight to work through this process. No, I am not just doing weekdays. Now, a little bit of housekeeping with how this is working. As I said, the document will be available at livefearlessmedia.com. All you have to do is go to livefearlessmedia.com. We have a pop-up that will show up within a couple seconds of you showing up there. Enter your email address and your first name, and you'll get access to that document through your through your email. Once you have access to that document, you can either save that link, or we will be sending out reminders as to how to access the document throughout that time. This will be a working document that does get updated and changed throughout the 15 days. We're using Google Docs to make it easy and fast to access, and we will create that document throughout these 15 days. At the end of the 15 days, we will take that document, clean it up, make it look nice, and we will send you a workbook with all the prompts, all the information, all inside the document. Now, here is the big part of this. These training videos, these 15 days of lives. We are doing all of the training live for 15 days. However, these live trainings will not stay public forever. So if you want access to the trainings, make sure to sign up for the document, because we're going to be sending out information how you can keep access to these training materials past the 15 days. We are going to extend a little past those 15 days. We're going to give you an extra week past the 15 days. So 22 days total to go through anything you may have missed, want to repeat, or if you go through these 15 days a little bit slower, or you find us through a search and you aren't here with us live, that'll give you a chance to catch up or get through all the material. So do not worry, you do not have to complete all 15 days in 15 days, but if you want to keep the material past 22 days, you do have to get in touch with us and we will let you know exactly how that is done. So I think that is all the housekeeping out of the way. Let's talk about day one. Day one is all about vision, casting vision. So when we talk about vision, we're looking at where are we going? What do we want to do? What do we want to achieve? It's very important when you build a product to not just know what the product is, but to know what you want to achieve with it. And more importantly, why you want to achieve it. I would heavily suggest doing a process called 7 levels of why. I think that's what it's called. I was put through this process when I first built my company. 7 levels deep. That's what it's called. It's not called 7 levels. And what you do is you literally write out, you go through and you say, why do I want X result? And you write it down. And then once that is done, you come back to it and okay, you say, why do you want that? You write it again. You do this 7 times over. And usually by the 7th time, you're significantly deeper in your motivations as to why you are doing something than that first time. You don't want like a certain dollar amount, like say, I want to make $1 million is your first level of why, to be your ultimate why. Why would I look at that and say, that's not my ultimate why? One, it's not very emotional. We are driven by our emotions. We are emotional people. Whether you are introverted or extroverted in those emotions doesn't matter, but we are driven by our emotions. So we have to know what emotion we are attaching to the work that we do. The more emotion or more focused emotion specifically that we can attach to the work that we do, the more likely we actually are to achieve it. If we are just looking at the surface level, most likely the motivation is not going to be very deep and the likelihood of success is lower. It's not to say that you won't be able to do it or you can't do it. It just means that the likelihood of actual success at the end of the day is hit or miss. So we end up in a place where we're looking at why. We want to go deep. The deeper we go, the more likely we are to hit the success goal. And why, I'm going to go back to that. Why do we want to go that deep? Because when it all hits the fan, and it will at some point, whether it's during this 15 days or after, there will always be a point where it all hits the fan. Your why is the thing that's going to keep you motivated to do what you're doing. It's the thing that's going to keep you successful at the end of the day. It will keep you on your toes and able to pivot if you have to. It will keep you in a position where you're able to focus on getting back to the work, doing the things, digging deep, pushing through the uncomfortable. If you have a strong reason why. If you don't have a strong reason why, if the emotions that are attached to this are not strong enough, most likely when it hits the fan, you're going to choose to just plain stop. It's not going to be worth it, because there will come a point in any business life, whether this is your first product and service that you're just building to give yourself an opportunity at a side business, or this is your 50th product or service, or multiple companies in, wherever you are on that spectrum. If you get to a place where you don't have a strong why and you don't have an emotional attachment to this entire process, then when it hits the fan, and it will, you're going to go back to it and go, I don't think so. I'm done. I'm good. Trust me, I've had many moments like this where I had to know and understand and embrace the process of learning why I was doing this, and learning to lean into the emotion of it all and understand the emotion of what I was doing. It's really actually essential to the process. So 7 levels deep, it's one of my biggest things that I do. I do this regularly, both for my business and for my life, to find my motivations and keep myself moving forward and keep myself emotionally attached to the process. So once we know kind of that why, that motivation, what's going to keep us going in this process, why are we doing this? What's the importance of the product or service to us in that moment? We're going to look to see some pretty key components of what we're looking at with this product or service. So you're going to ask yourself 3 questions, and these questions are going to reoccur over the next couple of days. So if you don't have the answer right now, you probably will within the next 3 to 4 days, because these questions will come back in the next couple of trainings. First question you're going to talk about, what problem are you solving? Now, this could be a company problem that you address. If you don't have a business yet, and this is the first time you're ever delving into developing a product or service, what's a problem that you know within your life? What is a problem that you see out in the world? What's the problem that you want to solve with this product or service? Now, if it's a company-based product, you're probably looking at a company-based problem that you deal with. So for instance, Live Fearless Media solves the problem of busy entrepreneurs being able to create content. That's one of the many problems that I deal with. I'm probably going to look for one arm of that larger problem to solve with my product or service. So if you're looking within a business model, what's the one thing that you want to address within that larger problem set that you solve? What's the one arm that you want to hit with this particular product or service? If you're looking for the first time, I say look at your personal life to find your products or services if you do not have a business model yet. If you do not have a business model, what are the things you encounter in your daily life that you'd like to address? Also, the big question a lot of people ask, what is the thing you could talk about for 20 minutes without prompting or without planning? That's another way you could do this, because that area of expertise that you could very easily ramble off some sort of speaking engagement for is probably an area that you have enough expertise that you can be solving problems for the regular world. And here's the big factor I want you to take into consideration. No problem is too small, and nobody has given every solution to every problem. Do not think that this place is oversaturated for you. No matter what you're doing, there is a position or a place for you. So feel free to look at any problem that your heart desires or that you link in with, because I guarantee you will find something that is pretty phenomenal. All right, so now that we know we're looking at what problem we solve, we also want to look at who is our audience. Now, we're going to go way more in depth with this later on in the 15 days, so don't get too bogged down in this. But a general idea of who you're talking to, whether that's your company's ideal client or customer, or it's somebody that you like to talk to, or a community you like to be a part of. Who is the audience group? What do they look like? Who do they like to engage with? We're going to take this basic idea that you come up with right here, right now, and we're going to develop this out a significant amount more as we talk not only about the product and service you're developing, because you will have to look at the audience significantly, do some audience research. Specifically, we'll address that later in the 15 days. We also are going to look at that with the marketing side of things and creating things like avatars and ideal audiences, etc. So do not get bogged down if you don't know the exact answer to this question right now, but just keep it in the back of your mind, jot down some notes, and we'll keep going from there. Last thing I want you to think about is, what are your long-term goals? Now, this might have been brought up in your process to why, but the reality is you need to be setting goals for a product or service. And I'm not talking a generalized goal as in I'm going to finish an ebook or I'm going to create XYZ. I'm talking very specific goals. We're talking getting smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and time bound. So relatable sometimes is switched with relevant. I just realized I switched the things, but anyways, you get my point. You're going to want to set SMART goals. Make sure when you're setting your goals, you're getting super, super specific. Everything should have something that is time bound, meaning by X time, I will achieve ABC, XYZ. We also want to be realistic about our goals. Now, you can set long-term goals that are 3 and 5 years out and identify them if you want to. But for this specific exercise, I would suggest looking within the next 30, 60, and 90 days. The reason being, we're going to mostly focus on what you can do in the short term to help yourself in the long term. If you're looking to do long-term training, make sure you sign up for all of our platforms, and we will be announcing information about long-term goal management and long-term marketing management in December. In fact, those dates of training are the first week of December. That is going to be our New Year's marketing planning meeting, New Year's goal setting meeting for businesses and entrepreneurs. We're going to run two trainings simultaneously, all of those for long-term goal setting in 2025. One specifically all marketing based and one specifically all business based. So if you want to be a part of one of those trainings, make sure you're following us, and we will make sure that you get access to those trainings as soon as they become available. And I hope that didn't freeze up because it's acting funky, I think. There we go. We are on live. Okay. So now that we've got the goals, let's talk about what you want to do as next steps. This training today is going to be relatively short in comparison to some of our other trainings. When we get further into this process, these trainings could go extensively longer. mostly due to the fact that we are going to be integrating things like AI. We are going to be integrating things like resource gathering. We are going to be covering research tools, etc., both on the free market space and the paid, because I am a big believer that if this is the first time you are stepping into business or the first time you are ever developing a product or service, you should be able to do it for free. Now, will you long-term be able to run your business for free? Absolutely not. I invest a heck of a lot into my business these days, but I am a big believer that it doesn't take a lot to step into entrepreneurship or into business if you want to. Now, your level of wanting to dive deep or do this process is completely up to you. You do not have to go as far as I have, building multiple businesses and trying to run multiple things on a daily basis. You could be completely content with building one product or service over the next 30 days, and that being kind of your side gig. If you are happy doing what you are doing, we are happy to support you in that process. Also, by the way, just because we're talking about building products and services for businesses that would be your own, these skill sets that we talk about here in these trainings, whether that's the marketing skill sets, the AI skill sets, the skill sets of doing the goal setting, the research development, all of these skills can be translated into the corporate world. So if you are somebody who loves being an intrapreneur, meaning you like to be internal to a larger company or corporation, all good for you. We want to support that process. You should still join us in this 15 days because there are a significant number of resources available to you here, as well as training opportunities that could help you in advancing yourself internal to a company. You do not have to have a business right now to participate in these 15 days. Now, last piece to this, we're going to tell you that you are going to want to have a notebook and a pen or a journal or a iPad or something of some nature to be taking notes the entire time. While we are sending out a review sheet, you can get access to that by visiting our website, livefearlessmedia.com. There is a pop-up as soon as you get to the home page that you can literally just put your first name and your email address, and you will get access to that document if you want it. Although we have that document, we would suggest writing notes as if you would teach this to somebody else. Why? Just because I say something one way doesn't mean your brain will continue to interpret it that way. So if you have the notes in front of you, you'll be able to reference back, make sure that the memories stay. And as I've been coached by, I can't remember how many coaches over the years, repetition is the mother of mastery. And this idea of repeating it by listening, by writing, then by reading, and then potentially by rewatching. If you rewatch these live trainings, will allow you to get it into your muscle memory and make sure that you are able to take in as much as you possibly can from these 15 days. It's going to run really super fast. I will fair warn you. All right, so that is pretty much our day. Like I said, today is a little bit shorter than some of the other trainings. The other trainings are probably going to run about 45 minutes to an hour. Today we only ran about half an hour. And so it's not super long. For those of you who may not be able to join us for the whole 45 minutes to an hour live, make sure to sign up for that document at livefearlessmedia.com, because that will also give you access to the replays. And please know that that is available to you at any and all times through this 15 days. So I hope you are enjoying this. Tomorrow, we're going to deep dive into your market needs, or what you think your market needs are, and how to find market needs. This is where we're going to get into a lot of the research-based tools and the AI-based tools for the first time, because we're going to look at, if you don't know what your product or service is going to look like at this point, and you're a little hesitant on what to develop, this is where you can kind of get some ideas. We have some AI prompts that'll give you ideas of what products or services you could potentially create over this 15 days, as well as, does my market actually need it? And on top of that, we're going to look at competitor research. So what's already out there? And we're going to look at competitor research from two aspects: direct competitors, meaning people on the level that you are playing at, and that then also aspirational competitor research. I love doing aspirational competitor research. These are the people that are the top of the game in your field, the people that you aspire to be, the people that you aspire to work with. This allows us then to raise our levels, because of the software that we're about to use will tell us how they actually achieve the goals that they set out for themselves, where they find their audiences, how they find their audiences, what types of software they use, which will start to give you a vision for how to create your product or service in the best way possible to potentially play up to their game. Now, if you are brand new to this process and have never built a business and never built a product or service before, almost everybody out there is going to be aspirational. However, know that all of us who are in business, I've been in business now for myself for 7 years. I have been in the media entertainment world since I was 21, which is a lot more years than 7 years. And the combination thereof, I am still in a place where I am significantly looking to my aspirational leaders in my field to teach me things on a daily basis, even when I'm doing product development and even when I'm doing service development. So we are going to look at that from both aspects, both your direct competitors, those people who are creating products on the same level as you, have companies on the same level as you, and then also looking at it from an aspirational aspect of who you want to be, who you'd want to partner with, who you want to learn from. So that's going to be tomorrow. If you are interested in all of that, if you are interested in those AI prompts, if you are interested in the softwares that we utilize in order to gain the information of how do people do the things they do, all of that will be introduced tomorrow. Make sure to join us. It'll be 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Time if you are over in New York or the East Coast of the United States. And I hope to see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a fabulous afternoon / evening wherever you are, and we will see you tomorrow.